The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor. Zara Williams didn't flinch as crystal shards scattered across her Louboutins. She kept her eyes locked on the man sitting across from her at the restaurant table, Marcus Chen, the architect who'd been making her laugh for the past hour, the first man to make her feel seen in 3 years. "We're leaving," the voice came from behind her, cold and controlled, but she heard the tremor underneath. The dangerous one. Minjun Kang stood beside their table like a shadow made flesh, his tailored Tom Ford suit immaculate, his jaw tight enough to crack teeth. 2 bodyguards materialized from nowhere, flanking him with the stillness of predators. Marcus started to rise. "Look, I don't know who you—" "Sit down." Minjun didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. Zara's heart hammered against her ribs, but she forced herself to breathe slowly. 3 years. 3 years of silence, of separate bedrooms, of living like ghosts in the same house. And now he wanted to play the possessive husband? "You don't get to do this," she said, her voice steady despite the fury burning through her veins. "Not after 3 years of treating me like furniture." Minjun's dark eyes finally met hers. Something flickered there. Pain, maybe, or rage, she couldn't tell. "You're my wife." The words hit her like a slap. Zara laughed, sharp and bitter. "On paper only." She stood, grabbing her clutch. "You've never acted like it mattered." "Stop right there. Before we go any further, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now because what happens next is going to blow your mind. And I want you to drop a comment. Team Minjun or Team Marcus? Is he being protective or just controlling? Tell me in the comments because I'm reading every single one. And trust me, you're going to want to discuss what's coming. Now, let's see what happens in that car." The restaurant had gone silent. Every table watched them. Phones undoubtedly recording. Tomorrow, this would be all over social media. The Williams heiress and the Kang heir having a public meltdown. Perfect. Minjun's hand closed around her wrist. Not tight, but firm. "We're not doing this here. We're not doing this anywhere." Zara tried to pull away, but his grip held. "Let go of me." For a moment, she thought he might refuse. Then his fingers loosened and she saw it again, that flash of something raw in his expression before the mask slammed back down. "Fine," he stepped back. "But we're going to talk. Tonight." He turned and walked out, his bodyguards following like well-trained shadows. The restaurant exploded into whispers the moment the door closed behind him. Marcus touched her arm gently. "Are you okay? Should I call someone?" Zara wanted to scream. Instead, she smiled, the practiced, perfect smile she'd perfected over 3 years of playing the role of dutiful wife. "I'm fine. I'm sorry about this. I should go. Will you be safe?" The genuine concern in his eyes almost broke her. When was the last time someone had asked her that? When was the last time anyone had looked at her like she mattered? "Yes," she lied. "I'll be fine." The lie tasted like ash. Outside, Minjun's black Mercedes waited at the curb, engine purring. The driver held the door open, his face carefully blank. Zara considered walking away, calling an Uber, making him chase her through the streets of Metro City like some desperate fool, but that would only delay the inevitable. She slid into the back seat. Minjun sat on the opposite side, as far from her as the car allowed. The door closed with a heavy thunk, sealing them in together. Silence stretched between them like a living thing as the car pulled into traffic. Zara stared out the window, watching the city lights blur past, anything to avoid looking at him. Who was he? Minjun's voice cut through the quiet. "Does it matter? Answer the question." She turned to face him then, letting all her anger show. "An architect. Someone I met at a gallery opening last month. Someone who actually talks to me like I'm a human being instead of a business asset." Minjun's jaw clenched. "You had no right." "No right?" The words exploded out of her. "I had no right? You've barely spoken to me in 3 years. We live in the same house and you treat me like I'm invisible. We sleep in separate rooms. We eat separate meals. The only time I see you is at public events where we have to pretend we're actually married. You don't understand." Then make me understand, Zara's voice cracked. She hated herself for it, hated the tears burning behind her eyes. Tell me why you married me if you were just going to act like I don't exist. Tell me why I've wasted 3 years of my life waiting for you to look at me the way you just did in that restaurant. The car fell silent again. Minjun stared at his hands, and for the first time since she'd known him, he looked lost. It matters, he said quietly. It's always mattered. Then you have a strange way of showing it. They didn't speak again for the rest of the drive. The Kang estate sprawled across 5 acres in the wealthiest part of Metro City, a modern masterpiece of glass and steel that somehow incorporated traditional Korean architectural elements. Beautiful and cold, just like everything else in her life. Zara headed straight for her wing of the house. Yes, her wing, because God forbid they actually share space like a real couple. But Minjun followed her, his footsteps echoing on the marble floors. We're not done talking, he said. I'm done. She reached her bedroom door. I'm tired, Minjun. I'm tired of this marriage. Tired of pretending. Tired of being alone. Just leave me alone, you're good at that. She slipped inside and locked the door, pressing her back against it. Her hands shook as she kicked off her heels, as she unzipped her dress, as she scrubbed off her makeup with more force than necessary. In the mirror, she barely recognized herself. When had she become this person? This hollow version of Zara Williams, the girl who used to laugh too loud and dream too big? 3 years ago, that's when. The day her father sat her down and told her the Williams real estate empire needed the protection only the Kang family could provide. The day she became a bargaining chip in a game she didn't understand. She'd thought, maybe, if she tried hard enough, if she was patient enough, Minjun would eventually let her in. That the cold, closed-off man she'd married might thaw if she just waited long enough. But 3 years of waiting had taught her the truth. Some people were meant to be alone, and Minjun Kang was one of them. Zara changed into silk pajamas and was about to climb into bed when she heard it. Footsteps outside her door. Then nothing. Just breathing on the other side of the wood. Her heart started racing again. Was he going to knock? Force his way in? Demand they finish their conversation? But the footsteps retreated, fading back down the hallway. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the door, hating herself for the disappointment that washed over her. Hours passed. Zara lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the restaurant scene in her mind. The look on Minjun's face when he saw her with Marcus. The barely controlled fury. The possessiveness. Why now? Why, after 3 years of indifference, did he suddenly care? The clock read 2:47 a.m. when she heard her door handle turn. Zara sat up, her pulse spiking. She'd locked it. She knew she'd locked it. But the door swung open anyway, and Minjun stood in the doorway, still wearing his dress shirt and slacks, though the shirt was now untucked and the top buttons undone. His hair was disheveled, like he'd been running his hands through it, and his eyes looked haunted. What are you doing? Zara pulled the blanket up, suddenly aware of how thin her pajamas were. Minjun didn't answer. He walked into her room, closing the door behind him. Not aggressive, just deliberate. In his hand, he held a crystal tumbler with 2 fingers of amber liquid. He'd been drinking. Minjun never drank. You need to leave, Zara said, but her voice came out uncertain. I stand outside your door every night. The words tumbled out of him like a confession. Every single night for 3 years. Did you know that? She stared at him. What? Every night I come to your door, sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes for an hour. He took a drink, wincing slightly. I stand there and I listen to you breathe. I hear you crying sometimes, and I tell myself to walk away, to keep you safe, to keep this distance because it's the only way to protect you. Zara's breath caught. Protect me from what? From me, from my world. Minjun moved closer, and she could smell the whiskey on him, see the exhaustion etched into his features. Do you know? What happens in my family to people we love? Do you know what our enemies do to them? Min-jun, my uncle loved his wife, loved her so much he couldn't hide it. Everyone knew. Everyone saw. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. I was 19 when I found their bodies. Him, her, their 2 children, executed because loving them made him weak, made him a target. The room spun. Zara pressed a hand to her chest, trying to process his words. I was terrified, Minjun continued, and now she could hear it, the tremor in his voice, the crack in his armor. From the moment I saw you walking down that aisle, beautiful and proud and so full of life, I was terrified, because I knew I was going to fall in love with you, and I knew it would get you killed. So you pushed me away. Understanding crashed over her like a wave. You thought distance would keep me safe. Every day, I wanted to come to you. Every night, I stood outside your door and imagined just opening it, just holding you, just being normal. He laughed bitterly. But normal gets you killed in my world. Weakness gets you killed. And wanting you, God, wanting you felt like the most dangerous thing I'd ever done. Okay, I need you to pause for a second. Drop a comment right now. Is this the most heartbreaking confession you've ever heard? Or do you think Min-jun is still making excuses? Because what happens next is going to change everything. And I want to know if you're Team Zara or Team Min-jun before we continue. Zara's mind raced. 3 years of cold silence, and it was all because he was trying to protect her? Because he thought loving her would kill her? You should have told me, she whispered. You should have let me decide if I wanted to take that risk. I couldn't. Minjun set down his glass and moved toward her. When I saw you tonight with that man, saw you laughing with him, looking at him the way I've wanted you to look at me for 3 years, I lost it. I couldn't think. All I could see was you being happy with someone else, and it made me insane. He was close now, so close she could feel the heat radiating from him. His hand reached out, trembling slightly, and touched her cheek with a gentleness that made her breath hitch. I've been a coward, he said. I chose fear over you. And that was wrong. I hurt you. I made you feel invisible when all I wanted was to see you, touch you, know you. Zara's heart hammered. Part of her wanted to lean into his touch, to forgive him everything, to finally have the husband she'd dreamed of. But 3 years of loneliness had left scars that one confession couldn't heal. 3 years, Min-jun. She pulled back from his hand. 3 years of sleeping alone, of eating alone, of attending events where you barely acknowledged my existence. One conversation doesn't fix that. One drunken confession doesn't erase all that pain. His hand dropped. I know. Do you? She stood up, facing him fully now. Do you know what it's like to lie in bed every night wondering what you did wrong? To look in the mirror and wonder if you're not pretty enough, not smart enough, not enough of something to make your own husband care about you? Zara? No. She held up her hand. You don't get to Zara me, not yet. You made a choice every single day for 3 years to keep me at arm's length. You chose your fear over me. And now, because you saw me with another man, suddenly you're ready to talk? Suddenly you want to explain? The truth of her words hung between them, sharp and cutting. Minjun's shoulders sagged. You're right. You're absolutely right. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve a second chance. He turned to leave. I just needed you to know. I needed you to understand that it was never about you not being enough. You were always too much, too beautiful, too important, too necessary. And I was too much of a coward to admit it. He reached the door. Wait. The word came out before Zara could stop it. Minjun turned, hope flickering across his face. I'm not saying I forgive you, Zara said carefully. I'm not saying everything is suddenly okay, but I need to know, if we're going to even try to fix this, I need to know you're serious, that this isn't just jealousy or possessiveness, or you not wanting to lose what you consider yours. Tell me what you need. Minjun's voice was raw. Tell me what you need and I'll do it. Honesty, transparency, No more walls, no more distance, no more standing outside my door like a ghost. She wrapped her arms around herself. If you want me to be your wife, really your wife, then I need to be your partner. I need to know your world, understand the dangers, make my own choices about the risks. I need you to stop protecting me from you and start trusting me with the truth. He nodded slowly. Okay. And I need time. I need to know this isn't just a reaction to seeing me with Marcus. I need to. No, you mean it. I'll wait as long as you need. They stood there, looking at each other across the space of her bedroom, the weight of 3 years pressing down on them. Finally, Zara said, "You should go. It's late." Minjun hesitated, like he wanted to say more. Then he nodded and left, pulling the door closed softly behind him. Zara sank back onto her bed, her whole body trembling. What had just happened? Had Minjun really just confessed his love, or was this some elaborate manipulation? Could 3 years of distance really be explained away by fear? She didn't know. But one thing was certain. Everything had changed. Sleep didn't come that night. Zara lay awake, her mind spinning with possibilities and questions, and a dangerous seed of hope she wasn't ready to acknowledge. When morning came, she expected things to go back to normal. Expected Minjun to retreat behind his walls, for the confession to be forgotten in the harsh light of day. Instead, she found a single white rose on her breakfast table with a note in Minjun's precise handwriting. "I'm done being a coward." The next morning, Zara sat in her corner office at Williams Properties, staring at acquisition reports without really seeing them. Her phone buzzed constantly with notifications. Photos from last night's restaurant scene had made the rounds on social media, and everyone wanted a statement. She ignored them all. A knock on her door made her look up. Her assistant, Michelle, poked her head in. "Ms. Williams, there's a Mr. Park here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says it's urgent." Zara frowned. "Park? I don't know any Ji-hoon Park." The man himself appeared behind Michelle, all easy charm and expensive cologne. He was older than Minjun, maybe early 40s, with silver threading through his dark hair and the kind of smile that set off warning bells. "I apologize for dropping in unannounced, but I thought we should meet." Michelle looked uncertain, but Zara nodded. "It's fine. Let him in." Ji-hoon Park entered like he owned the place, settling into the chair across from her desk without waiting for an invitation. He wore a navy suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary, and his watch, a Patek Philippe, caught the light as he crossed his legs. "Ms. Williams, it's a pleasure to finally meet you face to face." His English was perfect, barely accented. "I've been following your career with great interest." "Have you?" Zara kept her voice neutral. Something about this man made her skin prickle. "And what brings you to my office, Mr. Park?" "Call me Ji-hoon, and I'm here to make you an offer." He pulled a folder from his briefcase and slid it across her desk. $35 million. Zara didn't touch the folder. "For what?" "Your freedom." Ji-hoon's smile widened. "I know about your marriage arrangement with the Kang family. I know it was a business deal, not a love match. I'm offering you a way out. I'll buy out your marriage contract and ensure your family's real estate holdings remain protected. Better protected than the Kangs could ever offer, actually." Her pulse quickened, but she kept her expression calm. "That's a very generous offer. What's the catch?" "Perceptive, I like that." Ji-hoon leaned forward. "I want a partnership with Williams Properties. Access to your premium properties, particularly the downtown development projects. And I want you as CEO, real CEO, not the decorative VP position your father gave you to keep you occupied." There it was, the real agenda. "And what would you use my properties for?" Zara asked. "Legitimate business, I assure you. Import, export operations, international investments. All legal." His eyes glittered with something that looked like amusement. "Unlike the Kang family, I don't dabble in the kinds of businesses that get people killed." The implied threat wasn't subtle. Zara sat back, studying him. "You know about last night." "Everyone knows about last night. Minjun Kang making a scene in a public restaurant?" Ji-hoon shook his head. Very unlike him. You must be quite important to him to make him lose control like that. Or he's just possessive of what he considers his property. Maybe, Ji-hoon tilted his head. Maybe you're finally realizing you deserve better than a cold marriage to a man who keeps you at arm's length. A woman like you, Ms. Williams, should be cherished, celebrated, given real power, not just the illusion of it. The words hit closer than she wanted to admit. Wasn't that exactly what she'd been thinking? That she deserved more than what Min-jun had given her? But something felt wrong about this whole conversation. The timing was too convenient. Ji-hoon Park appearing the morning after her confrontation with Min-jun, offering her exactly what she might want most, freedom and power. Why me? Zara asked. There are plenty of real estate companies in Metro City. Why Williams Properties specifically? Because you're underestimated. Ji-hoon's smile turned genuine. I've been watching you for 2 years, Miss Williams. I've seen you turn failing properties into gold mines. I've seen you negotiate deals that made seasoned businessmen look like amateurs. You're brilliant, but your father and your husband both keep you in a box because they're threatened by what you could become. He stood, leaving the folder on her desk. I'm not threatened. I'm offering you a chance to show the world what you're really capable of. No husbands, no fathers, no one to answer to but yourself. Think about it. Ji-hoon was at the door when Zara said, You didn't answer my question. Why now? Why this offer today specifically? He turned, and for just a moment, his mask of charm slipped. What she saw underneath was cold calculation. Because the Kang family is showing cracks, and when empires fall, smart people position themselves to benefit from the rubble. You're smart, Ms. Williams. I'm betting you'll make the right choice. Then he was gone, and Zara was left staring at the folder on her desk like it might explode. She didn't open it. Not yet. Instead, she called her driver and went somewhere she hadn't been in months, the Kang estate, in the middle of the afternoon when Min-jun would be in his office. She found Dae-jung Kang instead. Min-jun's father sat in the traditional Korean sitting room, the one part of the estate that felt warm and lived in. He was drinking tea and watching a news program in Korean when Zara appeared in the doorway. Daughter. He used the formal Korean term, like he always did. Dae-jung had never been unkind to her, but neither had he been particularly welcoming. She existed in a strange limbo with him, acknowledged, but not quite accepted. This is unexpected. I need to ask you something. Zara sat across from him without being invited. 3 years of tiptoeing around this family were over. About Min-jun. Dae-jung's expression didn't change, but she saw the slight tension in his shoulders. What about my son? Why did you arrange our marriage? And please don't give me the business alliance speech. I want the truth. For a long moment, Dae-jung just looked at her. Then he sighed and poured her a cup of tea. You want the truth? The truth is complicated. I'm listening. Your family needed protection. Our family needed legitimacy. He took a sip of tea. But those were just the surface reasons. The real reason I chose you specifically for Min-jun was because I thought you might save him. Zara blinked. Save him from what? From becoming me. Dae-jung's voice was heavy. From becoming a man who puts business before everything else. A man who builds walls so high that nothing can get through. Not love, not joy, not life itself. I saw that path opening for Min-jun, and I thought maybe a wife, a partner, someone strong enough to stand up to him. Maybe that could change his trajectory. You thought I could fix him? I thought you could remind him he's human. Dae-jung met her eyes. I was right. You did, but I underestimated how stubborn my son would be. How afraid. He told me, Zara said quietly, about his uncle's family. Dae-jung's face darkened. That was my fault. My brother trusted the wrong people. Yes, but I could have protected them better. I should have. Min-jun watched them die and it broke something in him. Made him believe love was weakness. Is it? In your world? In any world, love is a risk, but it's also the only thing that makes the risk worthwhile. The old man smiled sadly. I learned that too late. Don't make my mistakes, daughter. Don't let fear win. Zara thought about Ji-hoon Park's offer still sitting on her desk. Freedom, power, no more complications, but also no more Minjun. He stands outside my door every night, she said. Did you know that? I know. I've seen him. Dae-jung pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, then turned it toward her. On the screen was security footage, black and white, time-stamped. It showed Minjun standing outside her bedroom door, one hand pressed against the wood, his head bowed. The timestamp said 3:17 a.m. Then another clip, different night, same position, 2:45 a.m. Another, 4:23 a.m. Clip after clip, night after night. 3 years worth of moments where Minjun stood vigil outside her door like some kind of tormented ghost. Sometimes he's there for 5 minutes, Dae-jung said softly. Sometimes hours. Always he looks like a man at war with himself. Zara's throat tightened. Why are you showing me this? Because my son is a fool, but he's a fool in love, and I think you need to decide, are you going to run from that love because it's complicated and messy and comes wrapped in 3 years of mistakes, or are you going to fight for it? I don't know if I can trust him. Trust is earned. Make him earn it. Dae-jung took his phone back. But don't walk away without giving him that chance. Some things are worth fighting for. Zara left the estate with more questions than answers, but also with a strange sense of clarity. She knew what she needed to do. That evening, she called Minjun. Meet me, she said when he answered. Neutral ground, the art gallery on 5th Street, 1 hour. I'll be there. She hung up before he could say anything else. The gallery was closing when Zara arrived, but she'd arranged for a private viewing, perks of being a major donor. The space was empty, just her and the paintings and the echo of her heels on polished concrete. Minjun arrived exactly on time. He'd changed from his business suit into dark jeans and a black sweater, looking more human than she'd seen him in years. Less armor. They stood facing each other next to a massive abstract painting, blues and grays swirling together like a storm. Ji-hoon Park came to see me today, Zara said. Minjun's jaw tightened. What did he want? He offered me $35 million to dissolve our marriage, plus CEO position at Williams Properties, plus partnership in his business ventures. And are you taking it? His voice was carefully neutral, but she saw his hands clench. That depends. Zara moved closer. I need you to answer some questions, and I need you to be completely honest. No more protection, no more walls, just truth. Okay. Do you love me? Minjun didn't hesitate. Yes. I've loved you since the day we met, maybe before that, if that's possible. Why now? Why did seeing me with Marcus make you finally act? This time he paused, thinking. Because I realized I was losing you anyway. I thought distance would keep you safe, but all it did was push you towards someone else. And I couldn't... His voice cracked slightly. I couldn't watch you fall in love with someone else. I couldn't lose you without at least trying. Are you going to keep shutting me out? Every time things get dangerous or complicated, are you going to push me away again? I don't know. The honesty of it surprised her. I don't know if I can promise I won't have moments where every instinct tells me to put distance between us. But I can promise I'll fight those instincts. I can promise to choose you over my fear. Zara studied his face, looking for any sign of deception. All she saw was exhaustion and hope and something that looked like desperation. Your father showed me the security footage, she said, of you outside my door. Minjun closed his eyes. I'm sorry. I know that's... Stop apologizing. Zara reached out, touching his face, making him look at her. I'm not upset about that. I'm trying to understand. If you loved me so much, if you wanted me so badly, why couldn't you just open the door? Because opening the door meant admitting I couldn't protect you, that I was selfish enough to want you despite the danger. His hand came up to cover hers. I'm still terrified, Zara. Terrified that loving you will get you killed. But I'm more terrified of living the rest of my life as half a person. So what do we do? You tell me what you need, and I give it to you. Zara took a deep breath. This was it, the moment where she either walked away or dove in head first. If I stay, everything changes. No more separate bedrooms, no more formal distance at public events, no more keeping me in the dark about your business or the dangers. Done. I want real power in both our family's operations. I want to be consulted, included, treated as an equal partner. Yes. And I want transparency about everything. Your meetings, your deals, your history. I want to know about Ji-hoon Park and why he's really targeting us. I want to understand your world so I can make my own choices about the risks. Minjun hesitated on that one. Some things I can't tell you. Not because I don't trust you, but because knowing certain things puts you in more danger. Then we have a problem, because I'm not going back to being protected through ignorance. Either you trust me as your partner, or you let me go. The silence stretched between them, heavy with possibility. Finally, Minjun nodded. Okay, full transparency, but you have to promise me something in return. What? If things get dangerous, and they will, you listen when I tell you something is a threat. You don't take unnecessary risks just to prove a point. Fair enough. Deal. And about Ji-hoon Park, Minjun's expression darkened. You need to be very careful with him. He didn't make that offer out of generosity. I figured, what's his real agenda? He's been trying to move into Metro City for years, but our family has blocked him. He runs legitimate businesses on the surface. But underneath, Minjun paused. Underneath, he's involved in things that make our operations look like Sunday school. Like what? Human trafficking. Mostly women and children. From Asia, brought here under false pretenses and forced into brothels or labor. Minjun's voice was flat, emotionless, but she saw the disgust in his eyes. We've shut down 3 of his operations in the past 2 years. He hates us for it. Zara felt sick. And he wants to use William's properties as cover for that? Among other things, your family's real estate portfolio is valuable, legitimate buildings he could use to hide illegal operations. And having you as his partner would give him access to society events, business connections, political influence. Minjun moved closer. He saw an opportunity in our broken marriage, a chance to turn you against me, get access to everything he needs, and destroy my family in the process. That's why you said he's planning something. He's always planning something. Ji-hoon Park doesn't make moves unless he's 3 steps ahead. Minjun's hand found hers. Which is why I need you to be careful. Whatever he offered you today, he has an angle. Zara thought about Ji-hoon's charm, his perfectly timed offer, the way he'd known exactly what to say to tempt her. He said the Kang family is showing cracks, that empires are falling. Did he? Minjun's smile was cold. That's interesting, because we've been hearing rumors about his operations losing money, about his political connections drying up. Projection, maybe. Or he knows something we don't. Possibly, Minjun squeezed her hand. Which is why I'm asking you. Work with me. Help me figure out what he's planning. Use that brilliant mind of yours that everyone underestimates. That sounds like you want me as a business partner, not a wife. I want you as both. I want everything with you. His voice dropped. I want to wake up next to you. I want to fight with you and make up with you and build something real together. I want to stop standing outside your door like a coward and actually be your husband. Zara's heart hammered. This was real. This was happening. After 3 years of nothing, Minjun was finally offering her everything. But could she trust it? I need time, she said. Not 3 more years, but time to see if you mean this. Time to see if we can actually build something together, or if we're just going to keep hurting each other. How much time? I don't know, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to show me your world. Really show me. I want to shadow you for a week. Attend your meetings, see your operations, understand what I'm signing up for. And if at the end of that week, I believe you're serious about this partnership, then we try. Really try. Minjun looked like he wanted to argue, to say a week wasn't necessary, that they should just dive in. But he nodded. 1 week, full access, no secrets. No secrets, Zara agreed. They stood there in the empty gallery, hands clasped, the weight of 3 years, an uncertain future pressing down on them. Then Minjun did something unexpected. He smiled. Really smiled, not the cold business smile she was used to, but something warm and genuine and a little bit nervous. "I'm terrified," he admitted. "You're going to see all the ugly parts of my life, all the reasons you should run." "Maybe I will run. Maybe." He pulled her closer. "But maybe you'll stay." Zara let herself be pulled into his orbit, let herself feel the warmth of his body, the rapid beat of his heart that matched her own. "Maybe." "Can I kiss you?" The question was soft, vulnerable. "I've wanted to for 3 years." She looked up at him, at this man who'd been her husband in name only for so long, and made a decision. "Yes." The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, like they were both afraid of breaking something fragile. Then deeper, 3 years of longing and frustration pouring into it. Zara's hands fisted in his sweater, pulling him closer, and Minjun's arms wrapped around her waist like he might never let go. When they finally broke apart, both. Breathing hard, Zara said, "If you hurt me again, I'm taking Jihoon's offer and burning your family to the ground." Minjun laughed, actual laughter, and the sound made something in her chest loosen. "Fair." "Okay, we need to talk about this kiss because I'm dying. Drop a comment right now. Are we rooting for this relationship or is Zara making a huge mistake? And what do you think Jihoon's real plan is? Also, if you're not subscribed yet, do it now because the next part of this story is going to blow your mind. Trust me. The week that followed was the strangest of Zara's life. True to his word, Minjun gave her complete access. She attended meetings with his security teams, sat in on negotiations with business partners, learned the ins and outs of both the Kang family's legitimate enterprises and their more shadowy operations. It was eye-opening and terrifying in equal measure. The Kang family wasn't a traditional crime syndicate. They operated more like a corporation, with flexible ethics, real estate development, import-export, private security firms that sometimes crossed legal lines. They protected other Korean businesses in the city, collected debts, settled disputes. Not quite legal, not quite illegal, dancing in the gray areas that law enforcement couldn't quite reach. And Minjun was right in the middle of it all. Zara watched him negotiate a land deal that she suspected involved intimidating the previous owner. Watched him resolve a dispute between 2 restaurant owners with a combination of diplomacy and veiled threats. Watched him coordinate security for a political fundraiser where the real business happened in back rooms and hushed conversations. He was good at it. Scary good. The cold, controlled man she'd married turned out to be a brilliant strategist when he wasn't busy building walls around his emotions. On the 3rd day, they met with his father and the family council. 6 men who'd helped build the Kang Empire. The meeting was conducted in Korean, which Zara spoke reasonably well after 3 years of trying to connect with this family. "So this is the wife you've been hiding," one of the older men said, not bothering to hide his disdain. "She doesn't look like much." Zara felt Minjun tense beside her, but she spoke before he could. "I speak Korean, uncle, and I'm sitting right here." The man's eyebrows rose. "Forward, not appropriate for a Korean wife." "Good thing I'm not a Korean wife then. I'm an American partner in this family's business, and if you want to continue operating in this city, you'll need the Williams real estate portfolio behind you." She smiled sweetly. "Or you can continue to disrespect me and watch your development deals fall apart. Your choice." Silence fell across the table. Then Daijung laughed. "I like her. About time someone put you in your place, Hongsik." The rest of the meeting went smoothly after that. Minjun's hand found hers under the table and squeezed. That night, back at the estate, Minjun came to her room. Not to stand outside the door, he actually knocked and entered when she called out. "You were incredible today," he said, leaning against her doorframe. Hongsik's been pushing me around for years, and you shut him down in 30 seconds. He was being an ass. Zara was sitting cross-legged on her bed, working on her laptop. I'm tired of being treated like decorative furniture by your family. They'll respect you now. You made sure of that. Minjun moved closer, sitting on the edge of her bed. But I wanted to apologize for not standing up to them sooner, for letting them treat you like you didn't matter. You're standing up to them now, that's what counts. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Minjun said, "Can I stay?" Zara's pulse quickened. Stay? Not like that. Just stay. I'm tired of sleeping alone. He looked vulnerable again, uncertain. But if you're not ready, stay, Zara said. But on top of the covers, and in your own clothes. Minjun smiled. Deal. He settled on the other side of her bed, on top of the blankets like she'd requested. Zara went back to her work, hyper-aware of his presence, of his breathing, of the way the bed dipped slightly under his weight. "What are you working on?" he asked after a while. "Trying to figure out Jihoon Park's angle." She turned her laptop to show him. "I've been researching his business holdings, his partnerships, his recent movements. Something doesn't add up." Minjun leaned over to look, and suddenly they were very close, shoulders touching. "What do you see?" "He's been buying up properties along the waterfront, not through his main company, through a dozen shell corporations that all trace back to him eventually. But they're not premium locations. They're old warehouses, abandoned factories, things with access to shipping lanes, but not much value otherwise. Good locations for moving cargo without oversight," Minjun said slowly. "Exactly. And look at the timing. He started buying them 2 years ago, right after you shut down his first trafficking operation." Zara pulled up another document. "I think he's been planning this for a while. The offer to me was just one piece of a bigger plan." "To do what?" "That's what I can't figure out." Zara chewed her lip, thinking. "But it's big. You don't spend 2 years acquiring property and building shell corporations for a small operation." Minjun was quiet for a long moment, studying the information. Then he pulled out his phone. "I need to make some calls. Zara, this is exactly the kind of intelligence we've been missing. Call them tomorrow. It's late." "This can't wait." "Minjun." She closed her laptop and turned to face him. "I spent 3 years watching you choose business over everything else. If we're going to make this work, you need to learn balance. The calls can wait until morning." He looked torn. Then he sat down. His phone. "You're right. I'm sorry. Old habits. I get it. But I'm asking you to try." "I will. I am." He settled back against the headboard. "Tell me about your day. The parts I wasn't there for." It was such a normal request, such a husband and wife a kind of question, that Zara almost laughed. "I had lunch with my dad, told him I was considering taking a more active role in Williams' properties." "How'd he take it?" "About as well as expected. Lots of, 'But you're so busy with your charity work, and are you sure you have time for real responsibility?'" Zara rolled her eyes. "He's never taken me seriously. Neither has anyone in my family. I'm the pretty face they trot out at events, not a real businesswoman." "You are a real businesswoman. You're brilliant." The simple certainty in his voice made her throat tight. "Thanks." They talked for hours, about business, about family, about everything and nothing. At some point, Zara's laptop slid to the floor, and they were lying, facing each other on top of the covers, still dressed, but closer than they'd been in 3 years. "I miss this," Minjun said quietly. "I didn't even know what I was missing until now, but I missed it. Just talking to you." "We've never done this before," Zara pointed out. "You can't miss something that never happened." "I miss the idea of it then, the possibility." His hand reached out, hesitated, then brushed the strand of hair behind her ear. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. That night at the restaurant with Marcus, were you falling for him?" Zara considered lying, making Minjun jealous, but they'd promised honesty. No, but he made me feel normal, like I was just a woman on a date, not a pawn in some family alliance. It was nice. I'm sorry I took that from you. I'm not. The words surprised her even as she said them. That night needed to happen. We needed to crash into each other. Otherwise, we might have gone on like that forever. Two strangers sharing a house. Minjun smiled. So you're saying I did the right thing by making a scene? Don't push it. He laughed, and the sound still felt miraculous to her. How many times had she heard him laugh in 3 years? Maybe twice? Eventually, they fell asleep like that, on top of the covers, fully dressed, facing each other. Not quite touching, but closer than they'd ever been. Zara woke up to find Minjun's arm draped over her waist, his face peaceful in sleep. For the first time in 3 years, she didn't wake up alone. The rest of the week passed in a blur of meetings and revelations and slow, careful steps toward building something real. Minjun introduced her to his inner circle, the people he actually trusted. He showed her the security systems that kept the family safe. He explained the delicate balance of power that kept Metro City's underworld from exploding into violence. And every night, he came to her room. They talked, sometimes argued, occasionally kissed, but mostly, they just existed together, learning how to be in each other's space without armor. On the 7th day, Zara attended a board meeting at Williams Properties with Minjun at her side. Her father ran the meeting like he always did, barely acknowledging her presence. Until she spoke up. I've been reviewing our downtown development project, Zara said, interrupting her father mid-sentence. And I think we're missing an opportunity. David Williams frowned. Zara, we can discuss this later. No, we'll discuss it now. She stood, walking to the presentation screen. We've been planning luxury condos, but the market analysis shows commercial space would generate 30% more revenue. I've put together a revised proposal that maximizes profit while maintaining our construction timeline. She clicked through her presentation. Comprehensive, detailed, better than anything her father's team had produced. The board members leaned forward, interested. When she finished, silence filled the room. Then one of the board members, old Thomas Chen, who'd known her since she was a child, started clapping. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. David, why haven't we been utilizing your daughter's talents? Her father looked like he'd swallowed something sour. Yes. Well, we'll take your proposal under consideration, Zara. No. Minjun spoke for the first time, his voice carrying authority. You'll implement it. Ms. Williams has proven her competence. Time to stop treating her like a decorative asset and recognize her as the businesswoman she is. David Williams' face reddened. With all due respect, Mr. Kang, this is a family matter. She's my family too, Minjun said quietly. And I'm tired of watching both our families underestimate her. The question is, are you going to step aside and let her lead? Or are you going to watch Williams' properties stagnate while competitors innovate? The challenge hung in the air. Finally, Thomas Chen spoke up again. I move that we create a CEO position and appoint Zara Williams to the role, effective immediately. David, you've done well, but it's time for new leadership. All in favor. 4 hands went up. David Williams didn't. Motion carries. Thomas smiled at Zara. Congratulations, CEO Williams. We'll expect your revised development proposal by the end of the week. Zara couldn't breathe. She'd just become CEO of her family's company. Just like that. She looked at Minjun, who smiled back with genuine pride. After the meeting, in the parking garage, Zara grabbed Minjun's hand. Thank you for backing me up in there. I didn't do anything. That was all you. Still, it mattered. She squeezed his hand. The week is over. I've seen your world, worked with you, learned how we fit together. Minjun tensed. And I want to try, really try. Not as an arrangement or a business deal, but as actual partners, as a real married couple. Zara moved closer. I'm still scared. I'm still not sure we won't screw this up, but I want to try. The smile that broke across Minjun's face was like sunrise. Yeah? Yeah, she laughed. But we're doing this my way. Therapy, couples counseling, learning how to actually communicate. And if you ever shut me out again, I won't. I promise. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. No more walls, no more distance, just us figuring it out together. They stood there in the parking garage, holding each other, and for the first time in 3 years, Zara felt like she might actually be home. But of course, nothing was ever that simple. The next morning, Zara woke up to her phone exploding with notifications. Someone had leaked photos to the press, photos of Min Jun with a woman, a beautiful Korean woman who was definitely not Zara. The headline screamed, "Kang Heir's secret lover and Williams' heiress humiliated again." Zara's hands shook as she scrolled through the images. Min Jun and this woman at a cafe, walking down the street, getting into a car together, all taken within the past week, while he'd been promising her transparency and partnership. Her bedroom door burst open. Min Jun stood there, still in yesterday's clothes, his phone in his hand, his face pale. "Zara, I can explain. You promised." Her voice came out flat. "You promised no more secrets, no more walls, and you've been meeting with another woman this entire time? It's not what it looks like. It never is, right?" She threw her phone at him. He caught it instinctively. "Get out. Please, just listen. I said get out." The words came out as a scream. "I gave you a week. I gave you chance after chance, and you were lying to me the entire time." "I wasn't lying. I just couldn't tell you about what? Your mistress? Your backup plan in case things with me didn't work out?" Zara was crying now, angry tears that she hated. 3 years, Minjun. 3 years of being alone, and the one time I decide to trust you, to really try, you do this? "That's Soo-yeon Lee," Minjun said desperately. "She's my ex-fiancée, before I met you, and she's been feeding information to Ji-hoon Park about our family operations. I've been meeting with her to try to turn her, to get intelligence about what he's planning." Zara laughed bitterly. "Wow, that's actually worse than if you'd just been cheating. You were using her, lying to her, and you didn't think I needed to know about it. I was protecting you." "Don't you dare!" She pointed at the door. "Don't you dare use that excuse again. You weren't protecting me. You were keeping secrets because you still don't trust me. After everything this week, after all your promises, you still see me as someone who needs to be managed instead of a partner." "That's not true." "Then why didn't you tell me?" Zara demanded. "Why didn't you say, 'Hey, I'm meeting with my ex to get information'? Why did I have to find out from tabloid photos like everyone else?" Minjun had no answer to that. "Get out," Zara said again, quieter this time. "Just get out." He left. The door closed with a soft click. Zara sank onto her bed, staring at the photos on her phone. The woman, Soo-yeon, was beautiful, elegant, Korean, everything Zara wasn't, and Minjun had been meeting with her in secret. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I warned you the Kang family was showing cracks. My offer still stands. JP, Ji-hoon Park." Of course, he'd probably leaked the photos himself. Zara should have been furious at the manipulation. Instead, she felt numb. 3 hours later, she was sitting in Ji-hoon Park's office. "Ms. Williams," Ji-hoon smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I'm sorry you had to see those photos. Must have been quite a shock." "Cut the sympathy, you leaked them." "Did I?" His smile widened. "Or did Minjun Kang's sloppy operational security come back to bite him? Either way, the result is the same. You're here, and you're reconsidering my offer." "I'm here because I want answers," Zara said. "What's your real play? The properties you've been buying, the timing of your offer, these photos. What are you actually trying to accomplish?" Ji-hoon studied her for a long moment. Then he laughed. "You really are as smart as I thought. Most people would be too emotional to see the bigger picture. But you cut right through to what matters. Answer the question." "Fine. Truth?" Ji-hoon leaned back in his chair. "I'm building a network. Import, export, like I said, but not the kind the Kang family dabbles in. I'm talking about real money, Hundreds of millions flowing through Metro City every month. And to do that, I need infrastructure. I need properties. I need political connections. I need legitimacy. And you need me to provide that. Exactly. With you as my partner, with Williams Properties backing my operations, I become untouchable. The Kang family loses their leverage, their protection. Rackets dry up and I take over the entire Metro City market. He spread his hands. Simple business. You forgot the part where you're trafficking human beings. Ji-hoon's expression didn't change. I don't know what you're talking about. Min-jun told me about your operations, about what you've been doing. And you believed him? After he just humiliated you in the press? Ji-hoon shook his head. The Kang family has been spreading lies about me for years because I'm competition. They control the narrative because they control the city. But I'm offering you a chance to change that. Zara wanted to leave. Every instinct screamed at her to walk out and never look back. But she thought about what Min-jun had taught her this week, about strategy, about keeping your enemies close, about playing the long game. I need proof, she said. Proof that what Min-jun told me about you is a lie. Proof that your operations are actually legitimate. Give me that and I'll consider your offer. Ji-hoon's eyes narrowed. And if I give you that proof? Then we have a deal. You get Williams Properties. I get real power and freedom from the Kang family. And everyone wins. She stood. But I'm not stupid enough to sign anything without doing my due diligence first. Fair enough. Ji-hoon stood as well. I'll have my team put together a comprehensive portfolio for you. Every business dealing, every property, every partnership. Complete transparency. Good. Send it to my office. Zara turned to leave. Ms. Williams? Ji-hoon's voice stopped her at the door. For what it's worth, Min-jun Kang is a fool. He had something precious and he treated it like a business asset. You deserve better than that. She left without responding. Back in her car, Zara sat in the parking garage and tried to think through the emotions clouding her judgment. Was she really considering Ji-hoon's offer? Was she that angry at Min-jun? Yes. Maybe. She didn't know anymore. Her phone rang. Min-jun's name on the screen. She answered. What? I need you to listen to me. Please. He sounded desperate. Soo-yeon is not my mistress. She's not anything to me except a source of information. I was trying to protect our families. By lying to me. By not telling you everything immediately, yes. And I was wrong. I see that now. He took a breath. But Zara, you need to be very careful with Ji-hoon Park. If you made contact with him. So what if I did? Silence. Then Min-jun's voice, low and urgent. Where are you right now? None of your business. Zara, please, just tell me you didn't go to see him. Tell me you didn't make a deal. Why? Afraid of a little competition? She laughed bitterly. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided keeping secrets was more important than keeping your promises. I love you. The words came out raw, desperate. I love you, and I'm sorry, and I will spend the rest of my life proving to you that I mean it. But right now, I need you to trust me one more time. Ji-hoon Park is dangerous. Whatever he offered you, whatever he showed you, it's a trap. How do I know this isn't the trap? How do I know you're not just trying to manipulate me into staying? You don't. You have to decide who you trust. The man who's been lying to you for 3 years, or the stranger who showed up offering everything you wanted exactly when you needed it most. Min-jun's voice softened. But I'm asking. I'm begging. Don't make a deal with him until we talk face to face. Zara closed her eyes. I'll think about it. She hung up. For a long time, she just sat there, trying to untangle truth from lies, manipulation, from genuine emotion. Finally, she started the car and drove. Not to the Kang estate, not to her office, but to her father's house. David Williams answered the door himself, surprise flickering across his face. Zara, is everything all right? I need to talk to you about the family business, about Min-jun, about everything. Her father stepped aside, letting her in, They sat in his study, the same room where he'd told her 3 years ago that she'd be marrying Min Jun Kang for the good of the family. The same room where her whole life had changed. "I got an offer from Ji-hoon Park," Zara said without preamble. 35 million to dissolve my marriage, plus CEO position, plus partnership. Her father's face went carefully neutral. "I see. And before you try to talk me out of it, I need you to be honest with me. About why you really arranged the marriage. About what you need from the Kang family. About everything." David Williams poured himself a scotch. Then another for Zara. "You want the truth? The truth is I was desperate. 3 years ago, our family was being squeezed out by competitors with underworld connections. We were losing contracts, getting undercut on bids, facing pressure we couldn't fight. So you sold me. So I made a strategic alliance." Her father took a drink. "Min Jun Kang could provide protection we needed. And in exchange, his family got legitimacy, political connections, a foothold in American business circles. It was supposed to be mutually beneficial." "Was it?" Zara asked. "Has the Kang family actually protected us? Or have we just been propping them up while I suffered in a loveless marriage?" "Both. Probably." Her father had the grace to look ashamed. "But for what it's worth, I thought maybe you and Min Jun might actually make it work." "I thought maybe." "You thought wrong," Zara stood. "I'm considering taking Ji-hoon's offer. And I need to know, will you support that decision, or will you try to stop me?" David Williams looked at his daughter for a long moment. "I'll tell you what I should have told you 3 years ago. Do what makes you happy, not what's good for business, not what protects the family, but what actually makes you happy. I robbed you of that choice once. I won't do it again." Zara hadn't expected that. "Really? Really?" He smiled sadly. "You've proven this week that you don't need anyone's protection. You became CEO on your own merit. You've shown everyone what you're capable of. If you want to walk away from the Kang family, if you think that's what's best for you, then I'll support it." She hugged him then, surprising both of them. "Thank you." "But Zara," her father pulled back, "make sure you're making this decision for the right reasons. Not out of anger or hurt, but because it's actually what you want. The Kang boy is an idiot, but he loves you. I can see that. The question is whether you love him enough to forgive him." That was the question, wasn't it? Zara left her father's house with no more clarity than when she'd arrived. She drove aimlessly through Metro City, her phone lighting up constantly with calls and texts from Min Jun that she ignored. Finally, as the sun started setting, she found herself at the art gallery where she and Min Jun had made their agreement a week ago. The place where everything had changed. She sat on a bench outside, watching people pass by, trying to sort through the mess of her emotions. "I thought I might find you here." The voice made her jump. Soo-Yun Lee stood a few feet away, elegant in a cream-colored dress, her expression unreadable. "How did you—" Zara started. "Min Jun called me, told me about the photos, about how upset you were. Asked me to try to talk to you." Soo-Yun moved closer. "May I sit?" Zara nodded, too surprised to refuse. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Soo-Yun said, "I owe you an apology. I've been spying on the Kang family for Ji-hoon Park for almost 2 years." "I know, but what you probably don't know is why." Soo-Yun turned to face her. "Ji-hoon Park has my sister. She came to Metro City 3 years ago looking for work, and she disappeared. I found out later that she'd fallen into one of his trafficking rings. He offered me a deal, spy on the Kang family, and he'd let her go." Zara's breath caught. "Did he?" "No, he kept moving the goalposts, asking for more and more information, promising her freedom that never came." Soo-Yun's voice cracked. "Min Jun figured it out last month. He confronted me, and instead of turning me over to his family or the police, he offered to help. Said he'd find my sister and get her out if I helped him take down Ji-hoon's operation." "That's why he was meeting with you?" "Yes. Every meeting was about gathering intelligence, about planning my sister's rescue, about building a case against Ji-hoon." Soo-Yun pulled out her phone, showed Zara dozens of text messages between her and Min Jun. All business, all about the operation, nothing romantic. He never told you because he was trying to protect me. If anyone in his family knew I was working with him, they'd have killed me before asking questions. Zara felt sick. And the photos? Ji-hoon must have been watching me. When he realized I'd turned, he leaked the photos to drive a wedge between you and Min-jun. Soo-yeon touched Zara's arm. I'm sorry. I never meant to cause problems in your marriage. I was just trying to save my sister. Did you? Save her? Min-jun got her out yesterday. She's in a safe house right now, getting medical treatment and preparing to testify. Soo-yeon's eyes filled with tears. He saved her life, and probably mine too. They sat together as the sun set, two women caught in the crossfire of powerful men's games. Finally, Zara said, I've been such an idiot. You've been hurt. There's a difference. I almost made a deal with the man who was holding your sister hostage. But you didn't, because you're smart enough to see through his manipulation. Soo-yeon stood. Min-jun loves you. I've never seen him like this about anyone, not even when we were engaged. He's terrified he's lost you. And honestly, you terrify him. You make him feel things he spent his whole life trying to suppress. Why are you telling me this? Because I understand what it's like to be afraid. To want to run because staying feels too dangerous. Soo-yeon smiled. But sometimes, the scariest thing is also the right thing. And I think Min-jun is the right thing for you, even if he's an idiot who doesn't know how to communicate. After Soo-yeon left, Zara sat alone with her thoughts. Min-jun had saved a woman from human trafficking, had risked his family's anger to do the right thing, had kept it secret not because he was hiding an affair, but because he was protecting someone vulnerable, and she'd immediately assumed the worst. Her phone buzzed again. Another text from Min-jun. I'm at the estate. Whenever you're ready to talk, I'm here. I'll wait as long as it takes. Zara looked at the message for a long time. Then she got in her car and drove to the Kang estate. Min-jun was sitting on the front steps when she arrived, still wearing the same clothes from this morning, looking exhausted and wrecked. He stood when he saw her car, hope and fear warring on his face. Zara got out, walked up to him and slapped him. His head snapped to the side. He didn't move to stop her or defend himself. That's for keeping secrets, she said. Again. Still. Even after you promised. I deserved that. You did. Zara took a breath. But I also owe you an apology. I should have trusted you enough to ask for an explanation before assuming the worst. I should have... Min-jun pulled her into his arms, cutting off her words. No. You don't owe me anything. I keep screwing this up. I keep choosing old patterns over trusting you, and I don't blame you for being angry. I talked to Soo-yeon. She explained everything. I should have explained it first. Should have told you what I was doing, brought you into the operation, trusted you with the information. He pulled back to look at her face. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Not just for this, but for all of it. For 3 years of making you feel invisible. For every moment I chose fear over you. For being too much of a coward to be the husband you deserved. Min-jun, let me finish, please. His hands framed her face. I love you. I have loved you from the moment I met you, and I will love you until I die. And if you still want to walk away, if you want to take the Ji-hoon's offer or find someone like Marcus who can give you a normal life, I'll understand. I'll sign whatever papers you need. I'll let you go if that's what makes you happy. Zara's eyes burned with tears. And if I don't want to go, then I will spend every single day proving to you that I mean it, that I'm done being a coward, that I choose you over my fear, over my family, over everything. Min-jun's voice broke. I choose you, Zara. I should have been choosing you all along. The weight of 3 years pressed down on them. All the missed opportunities, all the pain, all the loneliness, but also all the growth, all the hard-fought understanding, all the possibility. I don't want normal, Zara said finally. I don't want easy or simple or uncomplicated. I want messy and real and honest. I want you. Min-jun kissed her then, deep and desperate. 3 years of longing poured into one moment. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, He said, I'm still going to screw this up sometimes. I'm still going to have moments where my instinct is to protect you by pushing you away. Then I'll slap you again. He laughed through tears. Fair. But Min-jun? Zara grabbed his shirt, pulling him close. No more secrets. I don't care how dangerous the information is, how much you think you're protecting me. We're partners, which means you tell me everything. Deal? Deal, I promise. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I promise. They stood on the steps of the Kang estate, holding each other as the last light faded from the sky. Not fixed, not perfect, but together, really together for the first time. So what now? Min-jun asked. What do we do about Ji-hoon? Zara smiled against his chest. We take him down, together, like the partnership we're supposed to be. You have a plan? I'm working on one. She pulled back to look at him. But first, you're going to introduce me to Soo-yeon's sister, and then we're going to coordinate with the police, build an airtight case, and make sure Ji-hoon Park never hurts anyone again. That's my girl. Your wife, Zara corrected. Your partner, your equal. My everything, Min-jun agreed. They went inside together, hands clasped, ready to face whatever came next. Not as two separate people playing roles, but as actual partners building something real. Over the next 3 months, Zara and Min-jun worked together in ways she'd never imagined possible. They coordinated with federal investigators, piecing together Ji-hoon's empire of exploitation. Zara used her business acumen to trace shell companies and financial transactions, while Min-jun leveraged his underworld connections to identify witnesses willing to testify. They worked late into countless nights at the Kang estate, their separate bedrooms finally abandoned in favor of the master suite they now shared. What started as a professional partnership deepened into genuine intimacy. Not just physical, though that came too, but emotional. They learned each other's rhythms, their quirks, their fears. Min-jun discovered that Zara talked in her sleep when she was stressed. Zara learned that Min-jun made terrible coffee but insisted on bringing her a cup every morning anyway. They argued, made up, and slowly built the foundation of trust that 3 years of distance had denied them. The case against Ji-hoon grew stronger with each piece of evidence they uncovered, each witness they protected, each connection they documented. And through it all, they remained partners, equal, transparent, choosing each other every single day. Okay, I need to know what you think. Are we happy with this ending? Should there be a part 2? Because let me tell you, the Ji-hoon Park situation is far from over and I have some ideas about what happens next. Drop a comment and let me know if you want more of this story. And seriously, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you even doing? Hit that button because the next chapter is going to be insane. The federal courthouse steps were crowded with reporters when Zara and Min-jun arrived on the day of Ji-hoon Park's sentencing. 3 months of investigation had culminated in this moment. Ji-hoon being led away in handcuffs, his empire dismantled, his victims finally seeing justice. The charges were overwhelming. Human trafficking, money laundering, racketeering, conspiracy. Enough to ensure he'd spend the rest of his life in prison. Zara stood beside her husband, her real husband now, in every sense of the word, and watched as Ji-hoon was escorted past them. For just a moment, his eyes met hers, and she saw something that made her blood run cold. Not defeat, not resignation, a promise. But before she could process it, he was gone, swallowed by the crowd and the justice system. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed them with questions about the case, about their marriage, about the rumors that had been circulating for weeks. Ms. Williams-Kang, there are rumors that you're pregnant. Can you confirm? Zara smiled at Min-jun, who looked equal parts terrified and thrilled. They discussed this moment, agreed to be honest when the question came. Yes, we're expecting our first child in 6 months. The questions came fast after that, but Zara barely heard them. She was too focused on the way Min-jun looked at her, like she was the most precious thing in the world, like he still couldn't quite believe she was his. His hand found hers automatically, squeezing gently, and she squeezed back. They'd come so far from that night in the restaurant when everything had shattered. Now, they were building something new, something real, something that felt like it might actually last. Later, at their home, their real home now, the estate they'd redesigned together to blend both their styles, they celebrated with takeout and bad reality TV. It was normal and domestic and everything Zara had never let herself hope for. "Your father called," Minjun said during a commercial break, his hand resting on her still flat stomach in a gesture that had become habitual. "He wants to discuss expanding our partnership between Williams Properties and Kang Industries." "Of course he does. Now that we took down his competitor, he sees dollar signs." Zara leaned into Minjun's embrace, feeling safe and cherished in a way that still sometimes surprised her. "Do you want to do it?" Zara considered. "Maybe, but on our terms. Equal partnership, transparent dealings, nothing that crosses legal lines." "Going soft on me?" "Going smart. I don't want our kid growing up in the same world we did. All secrets and violence and fear." She turned to look at him directly. "I want something better. Something cleaner. We've proven we can build legitimate power without compromising everything we believe in. We'll build something better." Minjun's voice was soft but certain. "Together." "Together," Zara agreed. They sat in comfortable silence, watching terrible television, just existing in each other's space. It was nothing like what Zara had imagined 3 years ago when she'd walked down that aisle to marry a stranger. It was infinitely better. "I love you," Minjun said suddenly, breaking the comfortable quiet. "I know I say it all the time now, trying to make up for 3 years of not saying it, but I need you to know, I know." Zara kissed him, soft and sweet. "I love you too, even when you're being overprotective and annoying." "I'm not overprotective. You assigned 2 bodyguards to follow me to the grocery store yesterday. You're pregnant with my child. In a city where we just took down a major crime boss who has connections we haven't fully mapped yet." Minjun looked defensive, but there was a hint of humor in his eyes. "That's just practical. That's overprotective." "Fine, I'll dial it back, a little." He paused. "Maybe," Zara laughed. They were still figuring it out, still learning how to be married to each other for real. But they were doing it together, with honesty and communication, and a genuine partnership that had been hard-won through pain and mistakes, and choosing each other despite everything. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. A text from an unknown number made her freeze, the lightness of the moment evaporating instantly. Minjun noticed her expression immediately, his body tensing beside her. "What is it?" Zara showed him the message, her hand trembling slightly. "Congratulations on the baby, and on taking down Ji-hoon. But you should know, he wasn't working alone. His partners are very interested in meeting you both. See you soon." "A friend." Minjun's jaw tightened, his protective instincts flaring. "Someone's threatening us. Someone's threatening our family." Zara stood, her mind already racing through possibilities, through threats, through contingencies. The skills she'd learned over the past 3 months, the strategic thinking, the ability to see patterns, the willingness to face danger head-on, all kicked into gear. We need to handle this together." Minjun stood with her, pulling her close. No running, no hiding, no trying to protect each other by keeping secrets. "We face this the same way we faced Ji-hoon." "Together," Zara agreed, her fear transforming into determination. They stood facing each other, hands clasped, as the threat of new danger loomed on the horizon. But they weren't the same people they'd been 3 months ago. They weren't the broken, separate, scared versions of themselves who'd sat in a car after a restaurant and confrontation, unable to communicate, unable to trust. They were partners. They were ready. They had each other. Whatever came next, they would face it together. And that made all the difference.